And finally, the last built-in object we're going to look at in this section is the date object. Now, just to clarify, the objects that we have looked at in this section, they're not the only built-in objects in JavaScript. There is more, and you're going to learn about them as we go through the course. So let's see different ways to create a date object. We can create date1, set it to new date. So date is a constructor function. Now, when we open parentheses here, you can see this number here, 2 of 6. That shows different versions of this date constructor. You can use the up and down arrows to cycle through these. So we can use the date constructor without any parameters, and this returns the current date time. So let's rename this to now. Let's create another date object, new date. We have another constructor with one parameter called value, which can be a string or a number, which is the number of milliseconds from January 1st, 1970, or another date object. So here I'm going to pass a string. Let's say May 11, 2018, 9 a.m. Now, this format is not the only format that you can pass here. If you want to find about all possible formats that are supported, simply search for JavaScript date on this page. If you scroll down, here under date string, you can read about various formats that are supported. And finally, another way to create a date object is by passing numbers. So here we have another constructor with these parameters: year, which is a number, month is also a number, and so on. So I'm going to pass 2018. Now, the confusing thing about these date objects is that month is 0 based. So 0 represents January and 11 represents December. So we're going to use 4 for May. The third parameter is the date parameter, and that's the day of the month. So 11. Next parameter is hours, so 9 a.m. and minutes is 0. Now we can exclude this argument because all the other arguments are initialized to 0 by default. So this is how we create a date object. Now, all these date objects have a bunch of get and set methods. For example, now.get. So get date returns the day of the month, get full year, get hours, milliseconds, minutes, and so on. We also have set methods. So let's call set full year and change the year to 2017. We also have set date, hours, milliseconds, minutes, and so on, right? Now, let's see how we can display these on the console. So save the changes. All these date objects have a few methods for converting them to a string. We can call toDateString, and we get a string like this. So Thursday, May 11. Note that we changed the year on line 6. We also have toTimeString, which returns the time component of this date object. Another useful method is toIsoString, which returns a string like this. So we have the date, then t, and time. This is a standard ISO format and is commonly used in web applications. So if you're building a web or a mobile app that talks to a backend, this is the format you commonly use to transfer date between the client and the server.